Everybody. Good afternoon and good evening. Thank you for everyone who is joining me today. Today we're going to talk about support, so it's quite apt that I should say thank you for finding the time out of your evening or out of your afternoon to come and get yourself some better support and some help. I'll start by introducing Hand in Hand Parenting. Hand in Hand Parenting was founded almost 30 years ago by Patty Whipler when she had the gift of being listened to by an objective, warm-hearted, loving listener who was just able to let her pour her heart out. And she realized that that was the cornerstone to being a better parent. It was getting that support, having someone listen to you in such a loving and caring and wholehearted way. So that formed one of her 5 parenting tools, which is listening time. The other 4 tools are setting limits, which is using a limit, listen, limit structure. So we believe in empathically setting a boundary or a limit with a child by coming in close and listening with warmth, being firm with your limit, and then listening to the feelings that pour out as a result of having been told you can't do something or whatever that limit is. And so that kind of leads to stay listening, which is another one of the tools. Stay listening is based on the understanding that children as human beings will experience the full gambit of emotions, and that's normal and healthy. But off-track behaviour usually is a sign that there's some real feelings that have been stewing for a long time. So stay listening is about listening to fears and pain and hurt that may pour out in the form of tantrums, tears, sweating, all sorts of things. And so it's coming in close with warm eye contact and just holding space for a child. We call that stay listening. And then we have play listening, which is using play to follow the giggles, to help through certain troubles like separation anxiety, or maybe just the morning routine of getting out the door, using play to find the laughter in those situations and shift the angst and the frustration for us and for them. And then there is special time, which is one-on-one intensive connected playtime with your child. So you set a specific time frame, so maybe 15-20 minutes, that you're going to just give over wholeheartedly to your child, let them lead you in play, connect with warm eye contact and just delight in them for that period, and allow yourself to be totally led, which is a great cup filler, and it's a great way of finding out more about your children and really connecting with them. And it works really well for everyone involved. So those are the 5 tools. And so some of you might be thinking, wow, that sounds awesome, but like not realistic. Like maybe you have absolutely no support. And so you're just thinking, I am just trying to keep everyone in my household alive, and that's the best I can do right now. Or maybe you are actually kicking all those goals. You're managing to do the tools, or you're managing to really be the best parent you can imagine being, but then there's someone in the background who's not making it easy for you. So I want to talk about all of that today. So first of all, I wanted to talk about listening time is going to be the main sort of piece of the puzzle in this. It's going to be about you getting supported. So if you're wanting to know how to do that, I will pop in the comments. You're probably best off going to the Hand in Hand Parenting Facebook page, posting your time zone, your availability, and then waiting for someone to contact you in regards to being a listening partner for you. There is also a listening partner page that you can join as well. And you can have a read through other people's requests and see if it works for you in terms of time zone, in terms of what the other person's looking for. And you can also reach out in your community or your friendship groups, see if there is someone out there that would be willing to be a listener for you. Make sure that you've both read the guidelines, which we'll also put in the comments. It's really important you understand on both sides that when it comes to listening partnership, it's very different to normal conversation. It's uninterrupted. It is just non-judgmental. Whilst you're listening, you are just holding in your mind that that other person is strong and wise, and that they have all the answers that they need, and that you're just going to help them get those out. And there's no referring back. When you finish listening, you just ask a question that will snap them out of that emotional headspace back into the present. So it might be name 5 things that are blue or something like that. So yeah, basically when it comes to support, that's going to be the number one thing, because it is such a life changer when you have somewhere you can just spew out anything horrible that you're dealing with, or where you can just process things in a different way to how you might with friends or family when you're trying to work through something. You know, the natural conversational sort of method we use is to give advice. If someone's asking or talking about a problem, you just want to jump in there. So it's so different from that, and it's just something that you can't understand the benefit of until you've tried it. So I'm happy to help you find a listening partner, and as I said, we'll pop all the links in the comments later on. So the first thing I would do to get yourself some support is to have a listening session on the fantasy. What would perfect support look like in your world? And how would that change everything in your world? How would you be different as a parent with your dream support? And how would your children be with your dream support? Have a little moment to just, enjoy the fantasy of what it could look like. And then I would also use that time to think about if it's hard for you to accept or understand that you need support. So, as parents, we are just not well supported. We don't have enough financial support. We don't have enough physical support, hands on deck. We don't have enough mental, emotional support. There's too many other tasks in the modern world that we're concentrating on. And it's just, we need so much more than what we have. So today we're going to talk about getting a little bit more of that. But the reality is that we are all under supported, no matter how great your systems are. And I know that there are some people who have, like, they're at the total lower end of having help and support. And there's some of us who feel like we should be pretty happy with the support systems that we've got. And I think that it's a good idea to get some time on that, and on, no matter how good you've got it, it's still okay to need more and to know that you need more. And some of us feel like, oh, well, my parents did it, my parents before them did it, no one of them needed help, or, they just got on with it. But I'd like to say that if you're just a get on with it type of person, I don't think you'd be here today. We're not just get on with it people. We want more. We're trying to do more, and that's great. So yeah, spend some time working on that. If it's hard for you to say yes, spend some time saying yes to help in your listening partnership, or going out into the world and the next person who offers to help you with something, say yes. And when people offer to help, usually it's because they honestly, from the bottom of their heart, want to. I know that when I offer people help and support, I really mean it, and I enjoy helping and supporting parents, because I feel like that is the cornerstone of what's been helpful for me as a parent as well. And things do come around in a beautiful way. Like, I may be able to support someone more than they're able to support me, but then there's other people who support me more than I'm able to support them. And I just feel like it's all swings and roundabouts, as a friend said to me recently. Also spend some time brainstorming how you can get help in the long term and how you can get help in the short term. So short term, I like to put my hand up and say, I'm willing to help if you have questions in your parenting. If you are looking for a listening partner, my name is Chantal, but I go by Auntie Ask is my page, which I'll again put in the comments later, or the Hand in Hand Parenting page. Go on there as well. And There's also the parent club. Now, Hand in Hand Parenting have a free newsletter that you can sign up for, and that has lists of all our different talks and articles, all our freebies. But there's also the Parent Club, which has next level support. At the moment, there's a 30-day free trial, so worth signing up for that and seeing how you go, because there's a lot more support available there as well. And the other thing is, self-care. So self-care is another important piece of the puzzle, which is again hard to do if you don't have good support. So start small with self-care. I used to simply have a cup of tea every day, and for my 10 minutes once I drank my cup of tea, I told everyone, I just need 10 minutes, and I'm going to sit here, I'm going to read, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to watch something on my phone, I'm going to scroll through Facebook, whatever. For 10 minutes, I just had that space, and I knew that was my time, and I tended to do it when the kids went down for their sleep. And now, from that little piece of self-care gold, I go out dancing once a week. I have regular dinners with friends. I go on trips, and it's once you put one foot forward, often the building blocks fall into place that you can do more. But of course, that doesn't work for people who are doing this alone. So, my heart and all of my all go out to sole parents, because that is truly hard, even in, as I said, well supported structures, such as I've got, family around, I've got a partner, I'm in a really good position, it's still hard. So I can only, I can't even begin to imagine what it's like for a sole parent. So again, the first thing is getting some listening time so that you have an opportunity to vent, to offload. And then again, listening time brings a lot of clarity. So that may also be a great way for you to work out how you can build some better supports for yourself. And I would suggest a listening partner who agrees to an in-between text or venting sort of situation, so that whenever you can steal that little part of time in your week, you do your one-on-one over the phone or in-person listening. But during the week, if you're able also to just send texts or send little email dumps of whatever you need to get off your chest as well. And I hope that would just take off that top layer of everything. Then the other thing is to reach out to your community groups. So again, go on the Hand in Hand Parent Support page and see if there's anyone in your local area, or look up on Facebook if there's groups with like-minded families. So for me, it was an attachment parenting group was the perfect group for me to find my tribe and find my village, and I'm very grateful to have those guys in my life, and that's where most of my support comes from. And also maybe playgroups, particularly sole parent playgroups, where you can find other parents in similar situations with the view to working towards being able to help each other out. So once you've got those structures in place, then you can start to do babysitting swaps, or even as simply as getting all together in one location, having one or two or however many of you look after and play games with the big bunch of kids, whilst the other one takes off each child one by one for some special time. And that may be the only way that you can work special time into your routine. And that will be, as you'll see, still completely transformative to have that one-on-one time, and also just be able to spend time delighting in your child, because I imagine it is hard as a sole parent in particular to just be trying to get through all the things you have to get through. There may not be a lot of opportunities to really spend one-on-one time with your children. So again, I'm happy to help spitball ideas on how we can widen your networks. But listening time, I think, is a great way to just talk it through with someone and see what comes out of that, because you do have that wisdom within you. So there's that, and then there's also if you are not utilizing your support, so those of us who have them but haven't been using them, and I can be guilty of this myself as well. So again, get some listening around that, listening around why you don't ask for help, and how certain people can help, because often people don't ask, they may have a parent that's not helpful, so they don't ask them for help ever, but there may be little things that they can do. So maybe that person would be more than happy to take the children on an outing somewhere, but they're not great with just looking after them at home. Or maybe that person, find the strengths in each different member of your network and see what they could do and what you'd be comfortable with them doing. Sometimes it's just a relief to have another person there when you're doing certain things. I found that as well. Just, sometimes I'd have the house full of children, and people would look, my family live upstairs, so they come down, they'd be like, there's like 10 children in your house. I'm like, yes, but there's also 6 adults, and it feels so good to just be in that situation where it's not just me going through the dinner routine with my two. But the sad thing I find as well is when people have other people in their life that are not willing to help. And I think if it's a parenting partnership, I think that's completely unacceptable. And I think there needs to be some work done through listening and whatever other support you have around the best way to approach that. But if you're in a parenting partnership and one person's not pulling their weight, I think that's not on. It's a partnership, and everyone's responsible for the children's well-being. And anyone who doesn't have that balance, they're missing out as well. I think it's definitely hard for some parents to be involved, but that's something that it would be really great to work on, because it's such a shame for one person to miss out on that because they're unwilling, or their circumstances haven't allowed them to have that same relationship with the children. So I think listening time around how you can approach that in a tactful, sort of comfortable way for everyone involved. And then the other common thing is when we've been doing this type of parenting and we may have just been introduced to it, or we're somewhere in that part of our journey, but our partner or other carers are not coming along that journey with us for whatever reason. And that can be a huge problem for a lot of people. So in those situations, I suggest, particularly in the beginning, an agreed upon tag out system. So if you discuss with your partner that, look, you're really wanting to give this stuff a proper go, and it's really important, and you can see how it's going to work, and that you understand that right now they can't. But if then they're happy for you to just tap them on the shoulder when you can see it's becoming overwhelming or triggering, and say, look, I can tag in now. I'm going to take over with this situation, and have that system in place. Because a lot of people have said that that's the hardest thing, is that when they're trying to do this, it's like, they're making all this groundway, and that just feels like 10 steps back when the partner comes in and yells, or the partner comes in and isn't coping. So in that moment, I know we can all sort of be like, oh, could you get out of here? You're making things worse. So if you'd agreed on it before and just simple tap on the shoulder, smile, they go off and recalibrate, and you step back in, I think that just makes it more cohesive, and it's just easier to get through that. And then maybe once you've said that you're happy to put your hand up and do that, for at least until they start to see and understand this style of parenting, maybe then they can sort of understand that occasionally you might have to say, look, I'm just not coping. If you can just simply sit with them whilst I go recalibrate as well, and with the same sort of tag out system. So I think, those are sort of the main sort of ways. I can see, I can't see anyone specifically here. I can see people coming in. But if anyone's got any questions, so does anyone have any specific issues they would like to sort of bring up, and how can they get support around that? Sort of give us a minute or two to wait and see if anyone's got something they'd like to ask. But I think just to reiterate, the 5 tools that hand-in-hand parenting use are, when used together, they can, I feel any situation is within the realm of those 5 tools. And of course, listening is the one that I'll keep coming back to, because if you're doing everything else right, there's no right and wrong. But if you're doing everything else and you're still having problems, it's often something that's deep set. And I know that's been my experience, or it's something that I haven't yet picked up on. And so, yeah, getting the listening time can just help shift that. And you have so many eureka moments in listening as well. And the fact is, there's a lot of stuff that we carry with us from our own experiences. And often our children's behavior is reminding us of some past pain. And I've got so many different examples that I've had through listening time of that, and you don't even realize until you go that distance. So I've had a couple of eureka moments just sitting with what would have been happening when I was, 7, when I was having trouble with my 7-year-old. And there's so much stuff going on that I can no longer deny that there's a huge connection between the past and the present and the history. So yeah, as I said, everyone could do with more support. We live in a society that is fast paced. There's a lot of responsibilities on everyone in the family, and it's really hard at times. So the best thing we can do for ourselves and for our families is to say yes, to accept that it's okay to say this isn't the easiest job in the world, because all of us, we're trying to do a really, really good job of it. We're trying to do our very best to make sure our children are happy and healthy and have great emotional intelligence, and they have resilience in terms of being able to face whatever the world throws at them. And that's important to all of us. I know that because you're here today. I know that's in your heart as well. So let's all do everything we can to give ourselves the best opportunities, to give our children great opportunities. This is the hardest job we'll do, but it's also the most rewarding, and it's the most important work we can do, because the world as it stands now is a pretty at times unsettling place. So we're trying to bring forward the change makers, the peacemakers. We're trying to breed a generation of wonderfully empathic human beings who will make this world a better place. So let's look after us, because it's a really, really important job that we're doing. So thank you. I'm going to put everything in the comments now. Please feel free to contact me through Auntie Ask, which will be in there, or through Hand in Hand Parenting. And let's get you all better supported. Thank you.